Okay, today I feel like talking about a hot button issue. Now, I do not talk about anything that's confidential or secure or anything that's secret. I only talk about things that are public knowledge and things that anyone can learn about. You can read it in a law book, you can read it in a textbook, you can see it on the news. There's been something I've been meaning to talk about. I try to avoid it, but I think I have to sort of confront it. It's public knowledge that everyone that is trained to use a firearm, whether they're trained by the military, law enforcement, just standard, whoever they are, everyone who has had formal instruction in shooting has been trained to shoot the center mass in an armed conflict. You shoot this area. And a lot of people are saying, why do you have to do that? Can't you just shoot the guy in the arm or the leg or shoot the gun out of his hand? And some people are saying, well, I'm a taxpayer, I pay the police salary, they work for me. I don't know if I want the cops doing that, it looks a little harsh. And there was actually a proposed law in New York. And believe me when I tell you this, cops were getting in line to talk to the press about it. Particular big city cops like New York City. The proposed law said a cop should shoot a suspect in the leg and should only shoot them in the chest, or center mass rather, as an absolute last resort. That law is kind of screwy because the law, and you can check the law anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the United States, the law says shooting, period, is a last resort. It doesn't matter if the cop or the citizen shoots the criminal in the foot with a BB gun or in the head with a 500 Magnum. If you're shooting at someone, period, it's a last resort. And if it's not a last resort, you yourself are the one that's in trouble. And it has happened. So the people that are proposing this law, they didn't bother to check the actual law that already says last resort shooting, period. They've also, and anyone that thinks like this, it could be anyone can say, why don't you shoot the gun out of the guy's hand? Well, people that think like that have never been in a high pressure situation, never had a high pressure job, have zero knowledge of the law, have zero knowledge of human anatomy, have never fired any firearm of any caliber whatsoever before. And today I'm going to get into this. Okay, why don't you shoot the guy in the leg? That's the first question people ask. A criminal pulls a gun on a cop, the cop should shoot the guy in the leg because the cop doesn't want to kill the guy. Okay. Here's the issue with that. I think it was New York City police, I could be mistaken, had an experiment they wrote about in the papers last month. 17% of officers, I don't know how many, 100 officers, 17% is 17 officers. 200 officers, 17% is 34 officers. But 17% of officers, and I don't know about their skill level, just got on the job yesterday, Special Forces veteran, I don't know. But 17% of officers shooting at a target could hit the leg. That means they took a poster or a cardboard cutout of a human, pretended it was a criminal, and tried to shoot it in the leg. Now, 17% of officers are shooting it in the leg. That's non-living target, non-moving target, not fighting back target, relaxed setting. Okay? Reverse that. Living target, moving target, target firing back at you, non-relaxed setting. I guarantee you between 0 and 2% of the officers will actually hit it. Hit the target. Now remember, when you shoot a bullet and you miss your target, does the bullet disappear into midair? Well, let's assume that a criminal is staying behind a solid concrete wall and the cop shoots at the leg and misses. The bullet goes into the concrete wall. Not a big deal. Let's assume that for some reason they're in the middle of a big field or a big parking lot or wherever, and a criminal tries to attack the cop. And the cop draws his weapon and tries to shoot at the leg and misses. Where does the bullet go? The bullet could travel down for several thousand feet. Hopefully it'll be useless by then, but you never know when someone might get hit in the leg. You never know when a little kid might be crawling around. You never know when a pregnant lady might get it in the stomach. You never know. Anyone will tell you, a cop in particular, the second to last thing they want to do is shoot a criminal. The last thing they want to do is shoot an innocent person. So don't forget, 17% of the time the cop, according to them, the cop is shooting successfully in the leg in a relaxed setting. If that's a high pressure setting, that cop is going to miss. And that bullet might, God forbid, go into an innocent child or an innocent person, innocent woman, old lady, somebody's house. You never know. Now, human anatomy. Am I a medical doctor? No, I am not. But I do have a very, very basic understanding of some anatomy. And some part of anatomy I know is that your leg. In your leg, there is a vein. It's in both legs. I could be mistaken. I think it goes to your heart. I could be mistaken on that. But this artery is a crucial artery. And if you inflict blunt force trauma on that, i.e. gunshot wound, it's entirely possible the person will die anyway. So you're saying, I didn't want to shoot him in the chest because I was afraid I would kill him. Understandable. So I shot him in the leg instead. Well, if it hits that vein, he might die anyway. So this idea, shoot him in the leg to prevent killing him, that also causes a controversy. Another aspect people talk about, well, why don't you shoot the gun out of the guy's hand? Okay, how about this? Have you ever seen a gun shoot something out of someone's hand? I have too. You know where I saw it? On videotape. Do you know why I saw it on videotape? Because the last time it was legal for an exhibition shooter to shoot anything out of someone's hand was a couple of decades before I was even born. It is illegal today for an exhibition shooter to shoot an object out of someone's hand. Because there's always that one little mistake. Now, when an exhibition shooter, and the most famous is obviously Annie Oakley, shot something out of someone's mouth or someone's hand, the person would put a cigarette in their mouth. They would turn sideways. They would stand completely still. They would be as relaxed as possible. The shooter, Annie Oakley, whoever, would have a rifle, not a handgun, a rifle, which is much more accurate. A .22, which is much more accurate and not as deadly. I mean, .22 could kill you, but it's not as deadly as a .45 or 5.56 or 7.62 NATO. Okay, .22 is not that deadly compared to other rounds. And this remarkable exhibition shooter would take their sweet blessed time aiming and shoot the cigarette out of the person's mouth, or cigarette out of the person's hand, or playing card out of the person's hands. Here's what you'll notice. Look at those tapes of Annie Oakley and God knows who else. When they're shooting something out of someone's hand, where is the person's arm? Out to here, or way up here. That way, God forbid they miss, the worst thing they do is blow off a couple of fingers and not shoot them in the head or heart. You don't see a guy with a playing card like this, come and hit it. You don't see that. Do you actually see people shoot guns out of someone's hand in a real world situation recently? I have too. And because of our wonderful minute rule, I'm thinking I'm going to stop and start again.